So everybody's been showing clips like this from the Cyber Bowl, and everyone's asking the question, why was this not shown nationally? It's similar to a lot of the global protests that have been going on, but nothing is being shown on traditional media. You only see it on social media. Now, whether you agree with this or disagree is not the point that I'm making in this video. The point that I'm making is media is about showing things how they are. If it's about crafting a narrative or only showing certain things, that's not media. And if it's not media, what is it? So arguably the most famous dystopian novel is 1984 by George Orwell. I'm gonna highlight what I think is one of the scariest aspects of the book, but let me know in the comments before I do what you think. It'll be like a fun game to see if we can come up with the same thing. One of the most well-known phrases from this book is "Big Brother is always watching," describing the total surveillance state that they lived in. It's not hard to see the parallels, it really isn't. In the book, there are organizations that solely exist to rewrite history. That way they can always control the narrative, and they rewrite to fit whatever the current narrative is. It introduced concepts such as doublethink, which is basically cognitive dissonance, when you can hold two things that cannot exist together and you hold both of them to be true. War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. They also had a ministry that was all about newspeak, about teaching this new language that was designed to limit your expression. It dives into the systemic design to destroy individuality, or even the inescapability of the system. For those that dared enough to show opposition to the system, the opposition that they joined was run by the system, which just goes into the whole illusion of choice, which has a lot of modern day parallels. But what I think is the most terrifying thing beyond all of this is when people talk about it, we're like, oh, we're headed there, we're headed there. For the vast majority of people within this book that were a part of the system, they had no idea that anything was wrong. And that's the scariest thing to me, because people look at this and they're just like, oh, why aren't we shown this? Our media is so biased. The fact that so many people still buy into their party narrative is a little bit alarming for me. I think some people are waking up to the fact that the two-party system is broken. But how crazy is it that we live in a time where people know that they're not the ones pulling the strings? I'm talking about the politicians, and we're just like, oh, I hope we don't turn into 1984. This could get bad. Everybody knows the famous song, the famous saying where it's like, the revolution will not be televised. The revolution is not being televised. You see, people are pointing to Luigi and they're saying it's a rise in class consciousness. The classes are uniting together, exposing that there's an issue with the system. You've got spiritual people all over talking about the raise in consciousness, raising the vibration. I'll tell you, it's just two ways to describe the same thing. The revolution is not being televised.
The revolution about to be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong